Good evening. Tonight, we turn our attention to a significant and controversial shift in American law and culture. As of January 1, 2026, 7 U.S. states have eliminated the requirement for a permit to carry a concealed handgun. This means that for millions of residents, the process of legally carrying a concealed firearm has become dramatically simpler. No paperwork, no waiting periods, and no mandatory training in these states. This marks a major turning point in the ongoing debate over the Second Amendment, which has long divided Americans along political, cultural, and regional lines. The decision has sparked passionate responses from both supporters and opponents, each claiming to defend the nation's core values. Millions in Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Minnesota now face a new legal reality. For some, it's a long-awaited expansion of personal freedom. For others, it's a cause for concern and uncertainty about what comes next. Supporters call it constitutional carry, a victory for gun rights advocates who argue that law-abiding citizens should not need government permission to exercise their constitutional rights. They believe this move restores individual liberty and empowers people to protect themselves and their families. Critics, however, warn that removing permit requirements could erode public safety. They point to the potential for increased gun violence, accidental shootings, and challenges for law enforcement trying to keep communities safe. The move deepens the divide between states loosening and tightening gun laws, creating a complex patchwork across the country. Traveling from one state to another can mean dramatically different rules, adding confusion for residents and visitors alike. Law enforcement must now navigate a maze of regulations that change from one jurisdiction to the next. Police departments are updating protocols and training to adapt to the new landscape, while also addressing concerns from the public. The debate over where the right to bear arms ends and public security begins has never been more urgent. Town halls and courtrooms across the nation are filled with voices demanding answers and action. The consequences of this shift will play out in real time, affecting lives, communities, and the nation's sense of security. As the story unfolds, we'll be here to cover every development, bringing you the latest updates and perspectives. To understand today's news, let's look back. In the 1800s, many states actually banned or restricted concealed weapons to prevent violence. The modern era began in the 1980s, as gun rights groups pushed for shall-issue laws, making permits easier to obtain. Florida led the way in 1987, sparking a nationwide movement. The next step was permitless, or constitutional, carry, arguing the Second Amendment is the only permit needed. By 2025, over half the states had adopted some form of permitless carry, mostly in rural conservative areas. The addition of 7 more, including Michigan and Pennsylvania, pushes this movement into the mainstream and forces a national conversation. What triggered this coordinated shift? The 2022 Supreme Court Bruin decision struck down restrictive concealed carry laws, setting a new legal standard. Gun rights advocates argued that permits, fees, and training requirements were unconstitutional burdens. Legislators, anticipating legal challenges, repealed permit laws to avoid court battles and align with the new standard. Political momentum grew after the 2024 elections, with newly elected officials promising constitutional carry. National gun rights groups provided model legislation and lobbying support. The public narrative shifted toward self-defense and personal safety, resonating with many voters. The convergence of legal precedent, politics, and public sentiment created the perfect storm for change. Here's what's changed. In 7 states, anyone legally allowed to own a firearm can now carry it concealed in public. No permit or training required. Some states, like Michigan and Pennsylvania, still ban guns in schools and government buildings. Federal background checks for gun purchases remain mandatory. Optional permits are still available for those who want reciprocity in other states. Critics, including some governors, warn this could undermine public safety and make law enforcement's job harder. Supporters argue it restores fundamental rights and removes bureaucratic hurdles. The stage is set for a tense period of observation and debate. The addition of these 7 states redraws America's gun control map. 34 states now have permitless carry, forming a vast block from the South through the Midwest. The Northeast, West Coast, and a few others retain stricter permit laws. In battleground states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, this is a major win for Republicans and a challenge for Democrats. Businesses are reacting, some worry about safety and reputation, while gun manufacturers see opportunity. Economic divisions may soon mirror legal ones, as companies weigh where to invest or expand. Socially, communities are split, Some declare gun-free zones, others embrace the new law. Confusion and confrontation are likely as local rules vary, even within cities. The issue has become a new front in the culture war, pitting neighbors and businesses against each other. This deep social friction may be the most lasting consequence of all. The economic impact is immediate. States lose revenue from permit fees, affecting law enforcement funding. Firearms instructors and ranges lose a guaranteed customer base, while gun retailers anticipate a sales boost. Businesses must now decide their own firearm policies, risking backlash from either side. Security, insurance, and liability costs are rising. Opponents warn of increased costs from gun violence, medical care, policing, lost productivity. Supporters argue an armed citizenry deters crime and reduces costs. The true economic impact will become clear in the years ahead. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the recent passage of permitless carry has sparked intense debate and strong emotions across the city. The community finds itself deeply divided, with passionate voices on both sides of the issue. Mark, a local contractor, is among those celebrating the new law. He says, "My right to protect my family shouldn't depend on a government permit. This just removes a pointless hassle." For Mark, the change represents a victory for personal freedom and a return to what he sees as a fundamental constitutional right. He believes it levels the playing field for law-abiding citizens, allowing responsible individuals to defend themselves without bureaucratic obstacles. Mark and others like him argue that criminals never followed permit laws anyway, so the change only empowers honest people. But not everyone shares Mark's enthusiasm. Sarah, a teacher and mother of two, is fearful. "Anyone can now carry a hidden gun with no training. It makes me feel less safe, especially for my kids," she says, her voice trembling with concern. For Sarah, the law introduces a new layer of anxiety into everyday life, from school drop-offs to trips to the park. She worries about untrained individuals escalating conflicts, especially in heated situations. The thought of more guns in public spaces, without mandatory safety courses, leaves her questioning whether her community is truly safer. Maria, a restaurant owner, feels caught in the middle. "If I ban guns, I risk losing customers. If I don't, some families might stay away. We're forced to take a political stand," she explains. For small business owners like Maria, the law creates a difficult balancing act between customer safety, personal beliefs, and the bottom line. Law enforcement is split too, with officers expressing a range of opinions about the new policy. A veteran officer shares his concerns. "No more checking for permits, but now we have to assume everyone could be armed. The permit system gave us some information. Now, it's a wild card." He worries that routine stops and community interactions have become more unpredictable, increasing the risks for both officers and citizens. The new law raises tension for officers and uncertainty for the public. Some officers feel it may make their jobs more dangerous, while others believe it could foster better relationships if handled carefully. These personal stories highlight the practical dilemmas and anxieties created by the policy shift. From parents to business owners, and from police to everyday citizens, everyone is grappling with what the new law means for their safety and their rights. The debate is no longer abstract, it's playing out in daily life. Conversations about safety, freedom, and responsibility are happening everywhere, in coffee shops, at kitchen tables, and on front porches across Harrisburg. Communities, businesses, and police must all adapt to a new reality. Local leaders are organizing forums, and business owners are rethinking their policies, all while trying to keep their communities united. The impact is immediate, personal, and deeply felt. As Harrisburg adjusts, the true effects of permitless carry will continue to unfold, shaping the city's sense of security and community for years to come. For deeper insight into the far-reaching effects of permitless carry laws, we spoke with Dr. Evelyn Reed, a respected sociologist and leading expert on gun policy. Dr. Reed has spent years analyzing the social dynamics and unintended outcomes of firearm legislation, making her perspective invaluable to understanding the bigger picture. According to Dr. Reed, the evidence surrounding permitless carry is far from straightforward. While some studies suggest a correlation between these laws and an increase in aggravated assaults, establishing a direct cause and effect relationship remains challenging. The data is often nuanced, with variables like local enforcement, community culture, and pre-existing crime rates all playing significant roles. As Dr. Reed points out, both supporters and critics of permitless carry can find statistics to bolster their arguments, leading to a heated and often polarized debate. This makes it difficult for policymakers and the public to reach consensus. However, one trend stands out: the rise in guns being stored in vehicles has led to a noticeable uptick in firearm thefts from cars. This, in turn, can put more illegal guns on the street, compounding public safety concerns. Dr. Reed emphasizes that the previous permit system served as a crucial screening mechanism, preventing thousands of individuals who were legally prohibited from carrying firearms from doing so. The removal of this safeguard raises questions about who now has access to public carry. Without the permit requirement, the responsibility for identifying prohibited carriers now falls more heavily on law enforcement officers during routine encounters. This shift not only increases the risks faced by police, but can also heighten tensions and erode trust between officers and the communities they serve. Dr. Reed will be closely monitoring for changes in non-fatal injuries, accidental shootings, and shifts in the atmosphere of public spaces, places that may feel less safe or welcoming as a result of these laws. She cautions that the most significant impacts may not be reflected in crime statistics alone. Instead, they could emerge as subtle changes in daily life, such as increased anxiety, altered routines, or a general decline in the sense of community well-being. Ultimately, Dr. Reed reminds us that the story of permitless carry is deeply complex, shaped by a web of social, legal, and cultural factors. There are no easy answers, and the debate is likely to continue for years to come. As these sweeping changes take effect, only time will reveal their true consequences, both seen and unseen, on our communities, our safety, and our way of life. America stands at a crossroads. For some, permitless carry is a triumph of liberty. For others, it's a step into danger. Two opposing visions for the country are now playing out in real time. The 7 states that changed their laws are a laboratory for the nation. Will crime rise or fall? Will people feel safer or more fearful? The answers will shape the debate for years. The data and stories from these states will define the next chapter in America's gun debate. The future is uncertain, and the responsibility to understand and shape it belongs to all of us. Good night.